You're listening to Hashtag No Filter with Zack Peter. That's me, your naturally platinum blonde pop culture connoisseur. I'm the reality TV junkie, self-improvement addict, and host with only the hottest teas spilled fresh weekly. For more hot takes, go and give me a follow at Just Plain Zack. I always keep it funny and I always keep it cute. And if you're like me and you want to stay up to date with the latest reality tea, just go and give us a follow at No Filter with Zack on the Instagram, or you can always join our private Facebook group. The link is in the description below. I am excited because it is still summer, which means there is still time to order and sip your No Filter rosé. It is light, it is crisp, it is delicious. There's less than a gram of sugar, so you will not be hungover tomorrow, but there is still 12.8% alcohol in it, so you will be litty city. 4 fun cans, 1 crisp rosé. Each of the cans is inspired by some of the most iconic housewife moments, like Teresa's table flip, stealing Kim's goddamn house, which I'm pretty sure today's guest is the actual person that stole Kim's goddamn house, but we'll get into that in a minute. You can order No Filter Wine at nofilterwine.com. Go stock up. Send me your pics, and I may send you a naughty photo in return. Wink, wink. All right, guys, nofilterwine.com. Please welcome. Oh, also, I have Brandon Wade on the show this Wednesday. Brandon Wade is the founder of Seeking Arrangement. You'll remember when Rachel Ugotel from the Tiger Woods scandal, she's been shading him about the Seeking Arrangement website, and it's like a whole scandal that blew up on Heather McDonald's Juicy Scoop podcast. So now Brandon's coming over here to talk to me, to give me the scoop. So get ready. We're breaking that down on Wednesday. But before we do, today's guest might get a little manic, and his thirst traps on Instagram might give you a little panic in your pants. Please welcome back fellow podcaster, Mr. Jeff Epstein.
Wow, so flattered by the intro. I am taken aback. Thank you so much for having me. I feel so bad because A, I was late. B, my throat sounds scratchy and weird. C, the last time you invited me on, which was like last December, I remember that I simply missed it. So I'm honored to even be asked back.
Thank you for coming back. Why is your throat sore, and why were you late? Were you doing a glory hole on the way over?
No, I was at CrossFit, and then there was like some shenanigans after, and then actually I just was like, my elevator was taking forever, and then actually, so like there was a few things, so it was like that, and then I was just here, and I was actually trying to pee. I have like a difficult time peeing sometimes, but I wanted to pee because I'm also known for leaving in the middle of the podcast to pee. So I was trying to pee first.
Why do you have trouble peeing?
To be honest, I'm not entirely sure. This is something like I've seen urologists for like years. I haven't seen one in a while, but like years ago, I was going through a lot of this, had all these tests. And like, I think part of it was like the drug usage, and it kind of like messed up, I think, muscles around my bladder. There was a few things. I had to get a cystoscopy where they stick a camera in your dick. It's truly,
do you feel it when they stick the camera in your dick?
Well, they put you asleep. You're only asleep, I think, for like 10 minutes when they do it. But after, like when you wake up and you try to pee, it feels like razor blades.
Oh my God.
It's so uncomfortable.
Oh no, that sounds awful.
I know, and I went through all of that, and we still don't have a fucking solution. Here I am, late to podcast because I'm trying to pee.
So you do a lot of Instagram like Q&As, but like for people that are new to you, tell them, do you have a podcast? It's called Manic, and you very open about like your life, your dating, your personal life, and your prior drug usage. You are not a drug addict anymore. You do not know Jeffrey Epstein, but you have his name. Can you just give us like your elevator pitch on who you are, Jeff Epstein?
My company just called me a junkie. No, I'm just kidding.
I didn't call you a junkie.
I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding. I'll call myself a junkie. No, I did have a podcast called Manic. It's on hold for the moment. We're trying to get it picked up. I was telling Zach about this before we started recording in the off time. So that's that. But otherwise, what was the other things you said? Yeah, I used to have a pretty severe drug addiction. So I talk about that. I mean, I touch on it.
But like you've gone into like great detail of it, like on your Insta. Like I feel like I know more about you than I would if I dated you.
You know what's so funny is that I actually that's I think what it is that I'm super open, is that I share everything between my family and my past and everything like that. And then I did that poll, I think it was like last week, and I just was curious. I asked like a few different questions, and one of them was like, do you think you know me well? And I think like 68% said yes, but I was actually confused that like the other percent said no. I was like, oh, I feel like you would think, like to me would assume that my followers would know me well.
Yeah.
Don't you agree?
What do you think they don't know about? Like, what did they not even know at this point? You put it all out there.
I feel like a lot of people question my finances, which like I flat out say this too. I'm like, listen, I'm broke, and I think they think I'm joking. So I think but then they are confused too because they'll see me like doing this, that, or the other, which a lot of that like is free, or I'm simply like doing something and not paying my rent, things like that. Maybe that.
I mean, this is the year
life,
to not pay your rent.
Oh, it's been like 16 months not to pay rent. At one point, I was like $7,000 behind, and then I like did that. But I push it, and then it's so bad too because like won't pay my rent. But then my landlord would be like, Jeff, there's like all these packages down here for you. Or I was on vacation and I had to be like, hey, I'm actually out of town. Like, would you mind taking in? I had a meal service delivered, and I had like 2 packages downstairs. I was like, would you mind bringing them into your apartment? I'll get them when I get back. Meanwhile, I'm like 2 months late on rent. I'm like, this is so disrespectful.
So that's what I mean. Jeff puts it all out there. So you want to follow him. His Instagram is really funny. It's Jeff Epstein, right? That's your name. It's Jeff Epstein.
Yeah, it's my name. Thank you.
No, but that's your Instagram handle.
No, yeah, no, I'm just kidding. Yeah, it is. Yeah, you know what? Somebody too is that like I think I explained this to somebody recently is that I'm not always trying to be funny. I think I'm just like sharing my life. I'm often joking, but yeah, it's just kind of like a mishmash. I like to share music. I like to share a lot of moody stuff. Sometimes people are like, are you depressed? Because I'll share some like moody stories. I'm like, no, I just like am kind of emo and like matching music to scenery.
It's so funny because the outside vibe of you is like very bro-y, but like the inside vibe is very emo. Like I would expect you to have like your hair flattened and long and you to be really pasty and skinny. And you're like, not. I mean, you're like built.
Thank you. We're trying. I was injured for 3 weeks, so I feel like I disintegrated, but today was my first day back. What a day to podcast.
What a day. I love it. You're fitting me in between your CrossFit sessions.
This and a tattoo removal. You're actually like, I had this, and I have a tattoo removal.
They're taking off the tramp stamp?
Yeah, it's like I guess somebody called it like a male tramp stamp, which is in the back of my neck.
What does it say?
It was a Korean symbol. I've had like, I think this is my 6th session, so it's actually almost gone.
Wow.
So we're very happy about that. But yes, that's what I mean. I keep busy. I'm like, I've got that. It's like I've got stuff to do.
So what? Fuck! I just lost my train of thought.
Well, that's unfortunate.
That is unfortunate. It's because someone texted me and it was annoying. We're gonna have to cut that out. Which I normally don't edit. I don't know why you're throwing me off today, Jeff. No, what it is right before this, I had a meeting that like went over 30 minutes. And my brain is just like wonked.
Listen, you can just tell your listeners you take ketamine in the morning. It's fine. It's like there's no need. Talk about being open.
They think there are people mostly on YouTube because the show's audio and video, and they.
Oh my god, I'm being videoed.
Yeah, I've told you. You know that we've always done video.
It's fine. I look sweaty.
You don't look bad. No,
you
look hot. Somebody would give you a blowjob in the comments.
Thank you.
But no, they always think that I'm like on Adderall or something. And I'm like, I'm not on anything.
Well, are you drinking?
No. Well, I mean, I pretend to drink on the show, but I put water in the can.
Oh, I thought that too. I was like, wait a minute. I think it's closed. I can't really tell. But yeah, it's branding. Because now that all right, so for a second I was like, is he branding it to me? But then now that you reminded me that it's also going on YouTube, now it makes sense.
Yes.
I was like, you already sent me something. You don't need to brand it. It was actually delicious. I want to give a second. I want to review for a second. I'm not a rosé drinker. I'm not really a wine drinker. I'm mainly just beer. Or like certain drink. I actually love like a whiskey mule, different than a Moscow mule. Things like that. Dark Store, whatever. But the point is that you sent me these. I flew through them. They are 12% alcohol, which I was like,
they're
holy
strong.
Because they're so tiny, and you go through one little thing like that, and like it goes down quick. And then I was like, I'm a little fucked up, and I was by the pool, and I was like, okay, I flew through the one, like they're all gone.
Oh my! People don't realize, they think that they're small, so they're not going to get you like 2. They're like, oh, I can take like 2 of them. They don't realize. So 1 can is equivalent to like a 1/4 of a bottle of wine. So 4 of them is a whole bottle. So if you drink 4, you killed a whole bottle of wine.
Okay, that makes sense. Which is like, and also, I think, and I realized this too. I was like, because I'm a bigger person, I feel like I could like I was talking about it with my sister and brother because I'm like, okay, if I were like 200 pounds, I drink this much. Like the way it affects me. Yeah. So, anyways, I could clear 4 of those, and I was like, okay, but I was still pretty like I was like getting pretty tipsy, and like usually I have a high tolerance. I was like, wow.
Well, thank you. Wow. Thank you, Jeff Epstein. I made them delicious and strong with no sugar, so you shouldn't get hungover the next day.
I will say I was a little hungover the next day, but I also had a lot of them, and also I get hungover very easily, like very easily.
You stopped drink. You stopped drinking though, right? With the drugs, and you recently just started drinking again.
I, I, I'm only gonna touch on this for a second because I don't want to be that annoying person that talks about this in every podcast. But I had stopped doing drugs about a little over 4 years ago, and then it was like 7 months after I stopped the heroin that I got completely sober. It's hard to explain why. And then yeah, in the beginning of this year, I reintroduced drinking, and I'll drink, and I will smoke pot. I'm just not really a big pot smoker, but I'll take like CBD THC gummies at night. Sometimes before I go to sleep, that, and then like I'm also fine with doing shrooms. I don't do it often, but like I'll do that. Yeah, no pills or anything, like nothing. Yeah.
And so, what got you introduced to? Because your old podcast was Pop Goggles, and that was more like reality TV, and you did a lot of housewife stuff, which is kind of how we ended up in the same world.
That is. Yeah. No. So wait, what's the question?
How did you like? What made you interested in getting into reality TV and housewives? Since that's all I talk about on my show.
Well, I don't know, and that's the thing is that I'm not really interested anymore. If you see, that's why I switched and I don't do it. I think that like for like the last like year or two of me using, all I did was like I literally laid in bed all day except to like go scheme, commit a crime, and get drugs. And then I'd come back home, and I'd either be like high or dope sick, and I would be like stuck in bed all day. Literally, like I wouldn't leave the bed. I would pee in a water bottle next to the bed. I wouldn't even get up, and it was a disaster. It was a mess. I was very unhealthy, and I would just like I started watching a lot of Bravo because like it was just on TV a lot. And it was I couldn't really like when you're in that, especially when you're withdrawing, you can't focus on anything. That's actually where like the whole reality thing came in because I couldn't really focus on anything, and so it was something easy for me to watch, and so I watched a fair amount of it then. Other than that, before then, I never really watched any of it. The only housewives that I watched in the beginning was Beverly Hills because I knew who Kyle and Kim were, and I was fascinated by that. Then even then, I'd kind of fallen off for a little bit. So then I started watching it, and then that kind of era of me laying in bed being a disaster ended, and I got my life together. And as I continued to change and develop, I realized that like I was like, this feels like a chore. I don't really enjoy this, whatever. And it slowly has faded away, faded away, faded away. And I think even after I started that podcast, that was a little over 2 years ago, I was like, wait a minute. Like to me, and I say this often as I think pop culture is dead, I'm not interested or enjoy or really know anything about current pop culture topics. I'm very like under a rock with that. I love nostalgia. I'll talk about that all the time. But yeah, so then that changed. And then I was like, yeah, I don't watch those shows anymore. Like, I don't really even watch TV. If anything, right now, like I usually always have like one or maybe two scripted shows in my life at a time. And so then I was like, well, I have to change the podcast name. So then I switched it to Manic, which was kind of still touching on some pop culture stuff, mainly nostalgia, and then a lot of crazy stories. And then that's kind of where I'm trying to take it. But yeah, I don't really watch. I'm watching a little bit of Beverly Hills, but that's it.
Are you up to date with all the Girardi stuff?
Yeah.
That's crazy. I love and like diving into that. That whole scandal is just like insane.
So here's the thing. I agree, but I've been outspoken about this, and people have given me some shit. Like I'm very, very for innocent and proven until proven guilty, and that is such a lost mindset in society.
Yep.
Meanwhile, people are like slamming, I mean, truly ripping the girl to shreds, but then like ignoring Jen Shah. And I will say this as somebody who's gone through like very severe legal issues, and I've like said this in the comment section, it actually makes me really worked up. There's nothing more depressing. I was at my most suicidal when I was facing a lot of legal issues. This was kind of the end of my using, and I was facing like 5 to 12 years in prison. And it's very like every day, it was brutal. Like, I remember my sister had phoned from California. We were talking about it, and I kept being like, "There's just no end. Like, I don't see a way out of this." And a lot of my mindset was like, "I'll just kill myself." But I don't really have the courage to do it. But like, it's truly until you're in something like that, you cannot imagine. It's the most depressing thing, and it weighs so heavily you can't even really like breathe every day. And so I don't think people understand that these two people are already going through so much you don't need to slam them online. And they're like, well, they did something bad. And I'm like, first of all, we don't know that they did, but even if they did, like they're being punished. There's a reason why the legal system is there to punish you.
Yeah.
Let that legal system punish them.
Yeah.
And I said to myself too, I'm like, listen, I got punished too. So I feel really bad for her. And I also believe, I don't think that she knew.
Yeah.
That's my personal opinion, but regardless if she did, like, leave her alone. I feel really bad for her.
That's kind of where I sit. And like, here's the thing, because I get people ripping me apart in the comments all the time for like not defending her, but also being like, you know, we also have a double standard of like, we can actually there, you can actually prove that Tom Girardi like took advantage of like their voicemails there's enough evidence against him and he's not going to be criminally prosecuted because it's a whole thing. And I've already dealt with it on the podcast, but with her, there has yet to be any proof or evidence that she's guilty of anything or knew anything. But I'm like, it's so our culture to rip apart the woman and to tear her to shreds while kind of giving the man, not necessarily giving him a pass, but not holding him to the same standard, even though he's the one that can be proven as the one that was committing crimes for 3 decades now.
Well, I say that, and I think it's part of our culture too to just rip apart anyone. I've
it's true.
This.
Yeah.
Especially since last year I did the whole like cancel culture.
Yeah, that's what cancel culture.
I'm also I've gotten a lot of flack for defending people that have said controversial things, whether it's Kelly Dodd, whatever. Because I'm somebody that's like, stand up for stay true to yourself and believe in your opinion. And I'll tell you this too, and this is somebody who's like familiar with a lot of the Orange County ladies and things like that. There are a lot of those people that actually just spew bullshit and it's all lies. Then there's Kelly, who's like, I'm telling you what I truly think, and she's not afraid to do it. And like, I'm not saying I agree with a lot of what she says, although some the COVID stuff I actually do. But regardless, it's like, have your own beliefs.
Yeah.
Stop canceling people because they say that. Stop canceling people because you think they made a mistake. And yeah, I think that here's the thing. I get that some of the scenes that I've watched do seem a bit rehearsed, but in her defense, even if, so people automatically take that as like, oh, well, that means she's guilty. It's like, no, I think that she's in a really sticky legal situation. So she has to kind of say, what am I, she has to be careful what she says, but at the same time, she has to talk about it because it's her job for the show. So she's like, what do I do?
Which is her income for years to come. Like, it's a really tricky position to be in. You have to give enough so that they don't fire you, but then you also have to make sure your bases are covered legally. You know, the show is one thing. I don't love her social media presence currently, and that's one thing I can't defend, but I'm very much a proponent of being like, we need to stop like canceling people or like, you know, people love to just make judgments without actually looking into things or, you know, like you said, there are so many housewives that are really so fake and they put out this, you know, perception of who they want the world to see them to be, and then you have somebody like Kelly Dodd that's very much like who she is, and you don't have to like her, but you know, she gives you who she is unapologetically, and and you have to have some ounce of respect for that. She is who she is and she stands by what she believes in, whether she's right or wrong. You know, she has that confidence and conviction.
Agree. And what I think happens too is that people just interpret it as like, oh, if they don't like their opinion on something, they're a bad person. Right. It's like, no, they just have a different opinion. And what's ironic, I've actually never personally met Kelly, but a lot of people that I am around, whatever, everyone's like, she's lovely. Some of my favorite people, like friends and stuff in Orange County, like, oh, she's lovely. And then I've been around a lot of other people, again, on that show or whatever, or on other shows, and like, they are not. So your opinion is not indicative of whether, sorry, I'm like fixing this fucking pillow, of whether or not a
person is good or bad.
You're a good person or not. Yeah. And again, I'm telling you, a lot of people, there's just so many things, even with like, I spoke about this too with Stassi, just because I knew a lot of the Vanderpump people back in the day. This is like before it really started, or kind of when it started. And I'm like, listen, I'm not saying she's something right, but I think that like sometimes you make mistakes and it's about people's intentions. And now we're kind of spiraling back into that whole like cancel culture thing of like last year. But going back to the Erika of it all, it's like, I agree that I don't agree with her social media presence. If I were her, I probably just wouldn't post at all. Same thing with Jen Shah. I remember it was like a day after she got arrested, I saw that. It's like, just don't post.
Yeah.
But like, stop. I'm telling you, I keep being like, you're going to drive these people to suicide. That's where my mind goes first.
I've thought about that. And it's like, you never want to drive. Like, yeah, you want somebody to be held criminally responsible if they did something wrong and let the system play it out. Because here's another thing. We just saw with Bill Cosby. He was just released, and he was released on a technicality, and that's what happens when you try to rush the legal system. When you try to cut corners because you have a high profile case and there's a lot of attention around it, if you rush it, there's a greater chance that they can slip away in the end because of those little technicalities. And that's why you have to just let things, like, you can't lock them up tomorrow. I mean, even Jen Shah, the case against her is really bad, and you're right, people are holding Erika, to a much higher standard than they are to Jen Shah. And Jen Shah's case looks a lot worse. But
she's like the crime leader and the one that's actually attached. She's the one that's been arrested. Erika doesn't have criminal charges.
And it's by the feds. It's an investigation that's been going on for years. Like, they have a whole case against her. They have witnesses that are, testifying against her. Like, it's a whole thing. But it's just like, but even with Jen Shah, where you have that full caseload, or Tom Girardi, where you have the full caseload that proves they're guilty, or that can prove that they're guilty, you still can't arrest them tomorrow. Like, the due process still has to play out, and everyone still has to get their day in court in order for you to avoid having like a Bill Cosby sort of situation where in the end you can easily slip through the cracks.
No, I agree. And I've said that too, though, is for one thing, is that I'm like, Jen Shah has literally been arrested as the crime leader. Erika has not. So that's crazy to me. But I'm somebody that like loves true crime, things like that. I follow. I post about it often, like Casey Anthony, Scott Peterson, things like that. So in the case, I'm a big believer in like, in the court of law, based on evidence and things like that, like I think you should be found innocent on something, even if I think you're guilty. I think that happens a lot. Like, I think this is a weird example because with Scott Peterson, I actually do also think he's innocent. But I think based on what happened in the courtroom, that based on the actual court of law and evidence and nothing circumstantial, he actually shouldn't have been found guilty, whether you think he did it or not. There's a lot of situations like that. Casey Anthony, I do think she did it, but I also can see why she was found innocent, because if we're staying true to the legal system and you look based on evidence, it's all circumstantial. So there's a lot of question about that. And it's like, which do we want here? Do we want to believe in the legal system or not? And that's the question. And I dealt with that too, is that I remember I decided to take a plea deal on something. And to be honest with you, like, I took it and they had written something down. I'm just going to say whatever. They had said that I even like broke into somebody's car or whatever. I actually didn't, like, at all. I'm not even like whatever. But based on the fact that I didn't want them to like investigate further and pull up different tapes and go through stuff, I just said, yeah, okay, whatever. But it's just proof right then and there. Like, they actually had it wrong. I actually didn't do what they said, but I was like, I don't want to dive deeper. I was like, yeah, for sure. But like, that's just another example. And I think that somebody has gone through that system a lot and seeing mistakes that they've made. Like, I've had to go through, I would have a public defender, but they're fucking idiots. And I would go through my discovery and I was like, this isn't even true. I was like, they even got like, it's wild. It's really wild.
So here's the question that I have for you, because we're seeing a lot of housewives get dragged into the news, into the press with these big headlines about, back paying taxes, or, right now Lisa Rinna's under fire because there's this lawyer that's like, oh, she's getting sued right now and she has a mortgage on her house, and he's like trying to make things look a little more salacious. I actually look into these things and realize the Lisa Rinna lawsuit is really just a paparazzi that was upset that she posted a photo of herself to her Instagram that he took, and so he's trying to say, oh, you owe me money for copyright infringement. So it's more of just like a paparazzi chasing a celeb for a cash grab. But we blow these things up in the headlines and make it look so much worse than it actually is. And so now we have OC, Noella. She's the new girl that they're adding into OC, and it was just a headline that her husband owes $5 million in back taxes to the IRS. And so she says that's going to be part of her storyline this year. But I think I feel like we are holding these housewives and like burning them at the stake to the point where like we're killing the franchise slowly because we're turning everybody into a criminal. And that's not to say that some of these things aren't like not paying your taxes. Like, yes, that is illegal. You have to pay your taxes. But like, when you blow these things out of proportion and like try to tear them apart as these really evil, bad people, like, we're killing the franchise, and nobody's going to want to join Real Housewives soon if we keep blowing these things into bigger scandals than they actually are.
Well, I agree okay, so first of all, it's like I've always said that I watch these shows to watch characters and to watch a
Yeah.
story play out. So we're not saying who's saying we've always watched good people. If we look at early stuff that was happening, like they haven't. And I feel like now it's crazy because it's like had the Teresa stuff happen this year, people would have
Oh
reacted
yeah.
differently because it happened before. I'm like, she didn't get that shit and she went to prison. So
Yeah.
another double standard as far as like Jen Shah and Erika. So there's that. I also think that like yeah, it does. It makes for good stories so we can see it play out. Tax issues. Here's the thing too, tax stuff does sometimes happen by mistake. You don't know.
All the time it happens by mistake. And the other thing is people like this that are bringing in millions of dollars, they're not on QuickBooks. They're not on, TurboTax filing the taxes themselves. They have business managers and accountants that are doing all of this stuff. So like a few months ago when we saw that Jax Taylor owed like $20,000 in taxes and he was like, "Hey, that was an error from an accountant."
I
Whether
get
or
it.
not you want to believe him or not, shit like that actually happens. And when you have people that are bringing in millions of dollars, consecutively for several years, a small fraction of that could eventually, over the course of time, add up to 5 million. And that's not somebody intentionally cheating their taxes. Like sometimes these things just happen.
So I agree too. And I'm somebody that's had tax, not issues, but they were a mess and I had to figure that out. So I agree that too. As far as Noella is concerned, I actually know Noella. Noella last September when I was off probation, rented a party bus in Orange County, took me around. We had this whole like off probation celebration. It was wonderful. There's, I know a little bit about the tax situation.
Like,
Like I think she just said that she didn't know.
yeah.
I don't know if that's true, but I'm just gonna say that's all. That's yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. But do you?
And here's the thing too. I think that, and I'm not saying it for
Yeah.
her situation, but I think sometimes like there is tax evasion, and I think
Yeah,
I forget
that
with
does happen.
Giudice. I think part of that was like I
Yeah.
think sometimes they're purposely doing that.
Yeah.
I think sometimes there's that, and I think there's sometimes mistakes. And regardless, again, it's like if we don't want people with any conflict or issues in their life, like who the fuck are we gonna watch?
Are we gonna put it on television?
Theodore
Yeah.
Mellencamp? Like, no, I want to watch these. It's so crazy to me.
Teddy Joe.
Oh my God.
But it's crazy. But you're right, because it goes to the bigger point of like, you then crucify these people outside of the show for things that could be innocuous or things that can really be, to have some legitimacy to them, like Jen Shah. But like, when you're ripping them apart, you're not holding anybody accountable. You're just, burning people at the stake for what? You're killing the franchise. You're killing pop culture, to what you said earlier. Like pop culture is not what it like, what is pop culture even anymore?
Pop culture, and I've said this a lot of times, is that really mainstream, or excuse me, I'm drinking a sparkling water. I think mainly like mainstream culture and political culture and culture in general has taken over pop culture. Even now, look at TMZ. I actually used to get TMZ alerts and whatever, and now I don't even have it because it's all political stuff or something that just happened in the world or somebody killing somebody or this, that, and the other. That whole heyday of watching these like celeb scandals has really gone out the window, and it's not even interesting anymore. And our tolerance for what they do and say is so extreme that we really can't even judge or talk about it in the way that we used to anyways. Like you look at tabloid covers or news articles from 10, 15 years ago, like we couldn't even do that anymore. It's crazy to me. And I'm also somebody that like is not sensitive. It's so funny. I'm a very not sensitive person unless in a relationship. Whenever I get like broken up with, like, you're not, it's so weird. You're actually more sensitive than I thought. I'm like, my heart is sensitive. Don't break my heart. But I'm not. I'm somebody that's like, you can say whatever. I really don't care. And I think now people are so sensitive to everything being said. And it's like you can't fucking say anything. Like people, I've got in trouble for saying stupid shit. I'm like, this isn't, no. And so I think based on what we can say and talk about, which was the point of kind of pop culture and celeb gossip, was talking about it. Now that's lost.
Yeah, because I mean, you're right, because then the second you say something that differs from somebody else's opinion or perspective or experience, and everybody's opinion, perspective, and experience is valid, but the second they feel like their experience, perspective, or opinion is challenged by somebody else, like two people can have two very different opinions about a situation, and it doesn't have to be a terrible thing where you have to fight with each other and it becomes this divisive, but it even becomes like that with Housewives, like Team LVP or Team Kyle Richards. And it's like, and then it becomes like, oh, like you just rip these women apart and then you're fighting with other fans. It's like so in like the stakes have just become so much higher over frivolous bullshit.
I've said that too, as far as the team this, team that, and that was also a part of the reason. It wasn't just like, oh, I don't want to watch Housewives anymore. It was very much like, I don't want to be a part of this conversation because it gets very nasty and crazy, and people only see one side, and I can't be like. Sometimes you're just like, oh, like I see this person's side, I see that. There's an antagonist, protagonist here. It's for a TV show, entertainment. So let's kind of look at it like that.
Yeah.
But it gets so extreme. So I think even like what I have muted in my Twitter timeline is like a lot of Housewives words and a lot of COVID words because I don't want to see it.
Yeah.
And I think, and I'm going to get political for a second, and somebody who like would never used to be like this, but I think that's actually my struggle too with like our world right now. We have like extreme far left and the extreme far right who both are like, it's their opinion or nothing else.
Yeah.
And you can't, otherwise you're wrong. And it's funny, like, here's the thing. I'm somebody like,
you're wrong and you're a bad person.
You're wrong, you're a bad person. I'm somebody that like I voted Democrat for Joe Biden. But like, to me, the far left is almost worse than the far right, because the far left is like, you cannot have an opinion, blah, blah, blah. Like, it actually kind of makes me disgusted. And like, here's the thing. I'm somebody that's like, if you want to be Republican, like, I don't care. What's so gross to me is that there's so many people, these like far left people or Democrats, like, oh, gross, Republicans, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, I know a fair amount of Republicans, like they're fine. And I think sometimes too, there can be a difference between even a Republican and a Trump supporter, but even so, I'm still like, have your opinion, believe in what you want to, like, that's fine. Yeah. And it's so funny because all of them talk about inclusivity and judgment free and things like that. And I'm like, you're being so hypocritical. It actually disgusts me. And it's had a real turning point in the last year, especially where these sides have gone based on the COVID pen and like stuff like that. Even with this really drives me nuts too.
Rationale has kind of gone out the window with a lot of that stuff because it's more of like, what team am I on?
There's the vaxxers and the anti-vaxxers. And so they're,
and you can't be in the middle. Yeah.
Listen, I'm somebody like, I don't care if you're vaccinated or not. I think that everyone should make your own decision. I think that's what it is. And stop coming at each other. There's the extreme anti-vaxxers who are like, oh my God, you're poisoning your body. And there's the vaxxers like, you're not doing that. I'm just like, listen, do whatever you feel comfortable with. If you feel safe, not like whatever. But it's so extreme on both sides. And it acts like I had to talk to a therapist. I was like, I really hate the world. And I think me and my siblings joke a lot. We're like, we hate everybody. It's been a running thing for years now. And we do hate everybody. And it's really come to the point where I'm like, I hate everybody because I can't say anything. Yeah. Everyone is so opposing. And what's ironic too is that a lot of the far left will be like, oh, like we want inclusivity and we want everyone to like get along and kind of do all this stuff. But it's like, but then you're absolutely trashing this opposing end. And so
who's the one that's not being inclusive? Yeah. No, I understand and I get it. It's like, I think, the year of social isolation and the constant, high stakes and the fear mongering, it's like, I think it's really affecting people's psyche at this point because nobody knows how to even, have a conversation with somebody that they don't agree. Like for me, even when it comes to like my neighbors and stuff, I'm afraid to say certain things because I'm like, I don't want to lose a friend. I don't want to lose like somebody that I can have a drink with on a Thursday night on the roof. You know what I mean? But I'm like, so sometimes when there are some of those conversations that come up, I'm like, well, shit, I feel like I just have to kind of keep my mouth shut out of, fear of being painted as a bad person. And I'm not saying that I'm a good person or a bad person. I'm somebody that believes that everybody's that's equal parts good and bad. It's whether or not you choose to wake up and be a shitty person or a nice person. And, obviously the receiver is the ultimate, the perception. But I just feel like you're right. It is very polarizing.
And I agree too that like, I see what you mean as far as being afraid to say something to your neighbors or something because you don't know what anybody's stance is on anything. Yeah. I think that I'm a little bit like, I don't give a fuck, so I do. But I can totally see that and I can feel it as well. Because I will say something, you can see people be like, oh, wait, whoa. Or like, I've been in an environment where like somebody's like, will like bash Trump and then somebody will like, well, I'm a Trump supporter. And you're like, oh, wow. And so here's the thing too. And I was very much raised like, you don't discuss politics. Yeah. And then now though, when you say that, you're like, oh, you're one of those people that says like, you don't discuss politics. And obviously here I am doing it, but like, that's kind of why it was like, that's your belief, whatever. That's, and like, same with medical stuff. That's why when I talk about the vaccines, I'm like, that's actually a medical issue. Like, when am I discussing like my fucking, I'm not telling you I'm going to get like a penicillin shot for gonorrhea. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
So to me, it's like, just stop discussing it, but it's become such a big part of our conversation. Again, we're talking about it now.
Yeah.
We're talking about how people shouldn't talk about it, but it's like, it's honestly ridiculous to me. And again, I've gotten a lot of shit too, based on like what I've agreed with or what my stance has been. Like
Yeah, I have to like mute people and unfollow people if it's too extreme one way or the other. You know what I mean? It's like, it's one thing to have an opinion and it's one thing to feel comfortable enough to share it. I feel like little by little, I'm starting to be a little more unapologetic about it, because I feel like, at the end of the day, I know who I am and I know I'm not a bad person. So if you're going to paint me a certain way based off of a personal belief or a political belief or whatever the case is, that's your issue, not mine. It's just, I'm tired of the constant back and forth and the intensity of it.
Yeah, or like I'll see a lot of people and like all they're doing like in their stories and stuff is posting memes or crazy things about like being so nasty to people that are like unvaccinated or things like that, and doing all those things. And I'm very much just like, do whatever you feel comfortable with. Yeah. So as soon as I see that, as soon as I see you shaming somebody for your stance on that or masks or whatever, I mute you, because I'm like, I don't want to see that. Like, stop shaming people. It's so nasty. I joke like I'm pretty blunt and honest, and I can be, I don't want to say mean. No, I like in a joking way, in a very trivial way, like, kind of say certain things, but like when it comes down to a bigger issue, I'm like, do whatever you want. And I'm not going to shame you, and let's be nice. Like, it's so wild to me. It is. And again, you have the people on the far left saying like, let's just be nice, do all this. And it's like, you're bashing people in your street all day saying these, it's like, come on. Yeah. It actually makes me sick. I can't even talk about it anymore.
Or there's the argument of like, my body, my choice. And how when it comes to what they want, whatever you personally believe in, then like when it comes to people that are so extreme about like masks or vaccines, like you said, and then
my choice.
And then they try to police that, and it's like, well, then there's the double standard. You know what I mean? And it's like, well, do you stand for that or do you not stand for that? And then they're like, oh, Republicans try to take away people's, right to get an abortion. And it's like, well, what about the people that aren't Republicans? What about the people that are kind of in the middle, that are kind of like, well, how I can, support my body, my choice across the board? Like, and also how insulting is it to then be like, you're an irresponsible human being that wants to infect or get other people sick.
No, and I said the same thing too, specifically with the my body, my choice mantra. I was like, that's kind of the way I look at it. Yeah. And it is hypocritical, because you have the far left that are like, oh my God, like you should be allowed abortion, but then you're doing this. I'm like, which is it? And what I hate too is that like we've assigned your stance on vaccines, the pandemic, COVID in general, to a political party, which is also not the case. There could be Democrats that wanted to open up and don't want to wear masks or not get vaccinated, and then vice versa. So I hate that kind of assignment as well.
Oh, if you don't want to wear a mask, then that means you're a MAGA supporting QAnon Republican conspiracy theorist. Like, it's like, no, like people are multifaceted and they can look at things critically, I mean, that's kind of how it is when I talk like housewife stuff. Like, since I've been covering a lot of the Girardi, I've done like deep dives into the Girardi scandal. The level of intensity people come at me sometimes with is like, it's insane. And then they just get mean, and they like say, they make comments about my face, or they make comments about like, stupid stuff that I'm just like, really? So then where's your like, for me, I never like to speak on anything, whether it's a Girardi case or whether it's a political thing, unless I know I've thoroughly read about it, researched it, formulated my own opinion of it, and really can defend whatever opinion I have of that. But like so many other people really don't know what they stand for. And then when they feel, questioned or cornered or whatever, then they just get mean and throw like cheap shots.
I agree. And that's the thing too, is I feel like I stay true and authentic to like myself and what I believe. And the thing is too, is people don't always know the backstory. Like I just got fucking, in terms of like the vaccine and health and stuff, you don't know somebody's health issues or history. So you don't know, maybe that's why they're not getting it. Like, I don't think people even realize too that like, this was like 4 years ago, one summer, I had like, it was brutal. This was like right after I stopped using drugs before I got, so it was a whole thing. And like, I had to go to so many rheumatologists, and it was almost like, I think what they came up with, like, I had like a drug-induced lupus and how certain things were affecting my body. And like, people don't know. You don't know that's my history. So you don't know, maybe that's why I'm not doing something or I am doing something or whatever. We don't know any of that. That's why medical history is private and personal. So that's one thing. But especially even like, I just got blasted in my comments because I posted my mugshots, some of them. And I got blasted being like, that's white privilege to post it. And it's like, first of all, you don't know the fucking backstory of any of it. You don't know what. And first of all, like, I think white privilege would mainly be if I didn't have any mugshots and wasn't arrested. That's, if anything, more of it. But also, I'm like, just posting them and sharing about them is not. And then I've actually spoken about it. This was like last year when kind of the whole Black Lives Matter thing started. Like, just voluntarily, I opened up about saying, hey, I actually do recognize that when I was going through the legal system, because it's something that my siblings and I would kind of like joke about, because I'd like come home from court and they'd be like, what happened? And I'd be like, oh my God, this worked out. And then they're like, because you're white. And I'm like, yeah. And so I said, I was like, I'm somebody that's recognized this for a while. So I'm like, first of all, you're commenting on stuff which and you clearly haven't listened to what I've spoken about. You don't even know what happened. Like, second of all, I actually did get severely punished for all of these. I wasn't like, you don't know the consequences that I had to face. And just posting it, it's like, shut the fuck up. It was just, and then they kept blasting and harassing me, like truly harassing. So then I kept blocking them, but then they would make new accounts like, now you're blocking the black people. And I'm like, I'm blocking you because you're harassing me. Yeah. And again, so I'm like, you're now harassing somebody that you're here to talk to me and preach about doing something good. It's like, what the fuck? Yeah. I fucking hate everyone.
Thank you for hating everyone, Jeff.
I do. You're okay though.
Thank you. I'm glad I made the cut.
Yeah.
Just to pivot back to reality TV for a minute, but like I do agree with like a lot of what you've said, and even like, I don't know, I've had conversations with people that I don't agree with, and I love having those conversations, and most of the time, as long as neither person is willing to throw a cheap shot and be disrespectful towards each other, you can find that people are more alike than they're not alike. People can agree with on a lot more than the two topics that they don't agree on, but then they draw this line in the sand that are like, oh, well, I'm a good person and you're a bad person based off of this one topic that we disagree on versus the 80 other things in our lives where there's a lot more overlap.
Totally. And sorry, last political example, but it's like, there's people in my family that have voted for Trump and I don't agree with it. And I've had conversation with them, but it's like, doesn't mean they're bad people. They're still my family. We don't agree with that one thing. Like, that's okay.
Yeah.
So.
And you also have to realize like people, you have to realize like people come from different places. They have different experiences in the world. They have different priorities in their lives. Maybe their priorities and their morals may be different from yours, but like, again, it doesn't make people bad people. I mean, you can look at Tom Girardi, and Tom Girardi's not a very good person. Like, he ripped off people for decades. You look at Jen Shah, and she was, taking advantage of senior citizens, and you have the receipts to prove it. But like, I think on a very decent human level, people are going to hate us after this episode, Jeff.
I don't care. I've said stuff like this all the time. I lose followers all the time. I'm telling you, since last June, I've lost like 15,000 followers. I don't give a fuck.
Wow. But then, that's kind of how I feel, because I got really upset. I got ripped apart in the comments for an episode that I did, or not even an episode, but a live that I did on Friday night that I didn't even think anybody was going to pay attention to because it happened so late at night. But like, I've gotten so many just like nasty comments from it, and I'm just like, you know what? Unfollow me then. If you don't like what I have to say, if you don't like what you're hearing on the show, then if you don't like what's being said on the YouTube, then unfollow me, and somebody else that actually wants to be here will be here. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to lose sleep if somebody wants to throw a tantrum and leave. But I'm also not going to turn away the conversation to have an open dialogue with somebody either. If you want to come at me and have a conscious conversation where you're actually going to have an opinion that you really believe in and are willing to have an open dialogue about that without getting nasty, I'm open to that as well. But if you're just pissed and you're going to hashtag unfollow or unsubscribe, then just don't even, or actually no, you can leave the comment, give me the engagement, but like, bye.
It's also, I don't care about any of that. I say whatever I want in a public forum. And I think, again, being with people that also have a public platform and knowing how much they lie or authentic on their public platform.
Because they know like, that's what's going to gain them the
and I'm just like, I don't care. I think that I started a lot of it was like, this is really even like, especially in the past year, about how I shifted my content, and then when I changed the podcast and things like that, I was like, I'm only doing things that are true to myself. Even now when you look at like my aesthetic and things that I post, like it's all me. That's what it is. I actually just like went on a date with somebody, and then he looked at my Instagram after. He's like, it's so funny because he's like, this Instagram feels so authentically you. And I was like, that's what it is. Like, what do you want me to say?
Yeah.
Or no, I mean, like, I was like, thank you. Like, that's what I mean. Like,
it's a compliment.
It's just, come on. It's so wild to me. Ugh, I hate everything.
So Nicki Minaj says that she wants to host the Real Housewives of Potomac reunion. How do you feel about this, Jeff? Yay or nay?
I think yay. I'm not watching Potomac, but I mean Andy Cohen kind of annoys me, so I think that like it would be good to maybe change it up. And maybe also just because they can get stale because he's been doing it for so many franchises for so many seasons for so long. Maybe it's a cool change up. What do you think?
I think it's weird. Do you think Nicki Minaj can even host a reunion? Like, I think the idea of it sounds nice in theory, but like, can she actually? That's the thing that kind of irritates me sometimes is I see like people that don't have a specific skill set. Like me, I'm not going to go on stage and perform a Nicki Minaj rap song and, do that successfully. That's not my skill set, So sometimes when people try to divvy over into, I mean, I guess we haven't really seen her in a moderator role, but it's also just like
Yeah. I think I thought that too. I was kind of like, well, I don't know that she's like actually.
Will it actually be
this.
good? Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a cool idea, and I think it's a cool idea to have maybe somebody else step in or do it. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's like,
I think they'll probably end up giving her like a segment. A segment, I think, is what they'll end up doing. And I'm cool with that. That would be a fun integration. I think it would be great for the brand, for the Housewives brand to have Nicki attached to it. But I don't think I want her hosting all three parts of the reunion. No, thank you.
Yeah, I don't.
Okay, so Peacock is coming out, and they're coming out hard. They're doing their little Housewives All-Star show. They've rebooted Housewives of Miami, and now they've announced that Kyle Richards is going to be starring in their first ever Christmas Hallmark movie on Peacock. And not only that, but they're also rebooting Days of Our Lives to bring Lisa Rinna in to Peacock as well with that reboot. Are either of these going to be added to your watch list this winter?
No. I think anything you just kind of spoke about isn't. I don't really know. Yeah, no.
You're not interested in watching a Hallmark Christmas movie on Peacock with Kyle?
I actually don't really like. I don't love Christmas. I don't really like Christmas, to be honest, that much. I know it's. I don't. It's so. I've spoken about this. My favorite holidays are like Memorial Day, 4th of July, because it's the summer. I just want to be. Summer. I like summer, so I think beach and barbecue.
Yeah.
To me, Christmas is winter. It's depressing. Thanksgiving's mega depressing. Halloween, I don't like the fall. I'm very seasonally affected, so yeah, no, it's not for me. But I would say not super big on the Christmas movie thing.
Or soap operas. You're not a fan of the soaps?
Not a fan of soaps.
I don't think I've ever watched a soap opera, to be honest.
I used to pop in because every day my mom used to watch Young and the Restless. I'd walk in, she'd be like making a grilled cheese and whatever, watching Young and the Restless. So when I was younger, I would like watch that. But yeah, I think as of right now, like I said, I don't watch much TV. I try to have a scripted show, one or two in my life right now. I just finished Manifest.
Oh my God, I'm watching it right now. I just started season 2. It's so good.
So it's so weird because it's like bad, but it's so good.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like even the acting, I'm like, oh my God, but wait till season 3.
That's what I keep hearing.
Shit.
And we don't know if it's ever going to get a season 4 if Netflix doesn't save it.
I just finished season 3 like 2 days ago. And again, they finished it thinking they actually thought they were going to have 6 seasons.
Yeah, that was the intention.
Like, the way that it ends, it's like, I've truly never seen a bigger cliffhanger in my life. And I'm like, they have to at least film like an hour follow-up to wrap it up. They can't leave it. They have to wrap it up. It's nuts. But so I watched that. And then what I just switched to, and I was excited for this to come back, was Outer Banks season 2, so I'm a few episodes into that.
So is reality TV just not even on your list anymore?
No, I really hasn't been. Like I said, I pop into Beverly Hills, but no, it doesn't really. I don't find it as
entertaining. Well, and
I find that I'm on my phone the whole time, I feel like it's a chore. So I'm kind of like, what am I doing?
Yeah, I feel like. Well, I mean, and then you see that like the ratings of reality shows just across the board are consistently kind of dipping year after year. And I think that says something too. I think there's a lot to be said about like Bethany. I think after she left Housewives of New York, that first season after she left, the ratings were a little down. And she's like, it's probably just because this content just doesn't motivate people anymore. It's not the same as when it first kind of came out and was that sparkly show.
Well, I think, and I've spoken about this too, that how people have shifted and our interests have shifted, and that's true for me, especially because my interest in it started when I was in a much different place, specifically a bed. But I've also spoken about how the quality of the content has gone down. Like I'll sometimes go back and watch older seasons of things of like certain housewives because it's fun and funny, but it's just not the same. And I've kind of broken it down by, each thing and seeing this is wrong or that's not working or whatever. But it's just kind of like, it feels stale. It's not, I don't waste my time. I don't waste my time being somewhere or speaking to somebody or watching something if I'm not enjoying it. My brother's the same way. We'll be in a situation, people always give a shit because we always leave things and we're like, we're done. We're good. Like why am I going to still be here? Like as soon as I feel like I want to go, I go.
Yeah.
So as soon as I feel like I want to watch something, I'm not going to watch it. And people are like, I'm loyal, so I watch. And I'm like, I don't. You're going to watch something you're not enjoying? What the fuck? It's so crazy to me. No, I'm not going to do something I don't enjoy.
No, I know that's kind of how I'm feeling right now since we talk about Housewives all the time. Like New York, this season of Real Housewives of New York is so bad that it feels like a chore just to kind of get through it and watch it. And I'm like, but this is... And so I've even kind of stopped really talking about it because I'm just like, I don't even want to cover it on the show anymore because none of us have anything good to say about it other than it's bad.
I stopped watching New York a few episodes into last season.
Yeah, last season was bad too.
And because I said, this is not for me. And then now I think, especially this season when people started to pick up on that, but I was like, yeah, guys, no, it's not.
Yeah.
No,
I recognize last season was bad. Yeah.
I was saying it, nobody's believing me. I even said it going into it. I said I have a lot of hesitance, just kind of based on, and then I was like, no. And then a few episodes in, like, oh my God, this person's great, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, no. I remember from the get-go too, I said Leah doesn't fit in the show. Got into a fight with her about it because somebody posted about it. This was, the beginning of last season. And then so going to this, I was like, no, I think I watched the first 5 minutes of this season because I was like, I'll give it a second. And I was like, nope, vibes are off. And not going to watch something I do not enjoy. No. I was having a great time watching Manifest in Outer Banks. Wonderful time, really. Oh, I watched Animal Kingdom too. It's a TNT show. It's like a Southern crime family in California. I'm watching it for seasons, so like that's on Sundays. So I have a great time watching those. I'm like, how would I watch the others? I don't know.
You've just Marie Kondo'd your life.
I really do. I think I'm a very organized, clean person. I feel you can tell my car, I'm very simple. I'm also very particular. I am very particular. People through and through. I'm very picky. I see when I try to like pick out a pair of shoes, or it goes on forever. So it's like when I like something, I like something. When I don't, I don't. I don't.
I'm here with you, Jeff. I see it. I hear it. I feel it in my soul. I'm curious to see what people's reaction is going to be to this episode because I really don't ever talk about politics, and I just did a whole like thing on the podcast Instagram talking about like my history and like what I've done. And so for people that are new to like me, I spent like my brother has autism, so my background is in fundraising, and so I would travel around the country helping underprivileged families affected by autism, and so it'll be interesting to see people kind of be like, oh, you're such a good person on the Instagram, and then to listen to the episode and see if their opinion of me actually changes, even though both parts are true. Both sides of me are true, and everyone is a multifaceted person.
I've used that phrase with myself many times just because the people are like, oh, wait, but you watch Housewives, then you like love cars. Like my interests are all over the place. I am very multifaceted, and even so like that, I like to do some things that are funny, but then I am posting moody things, or like I like to shoot content. Like I am truly all over the place. My sister always jokes. She says, "Jeff, you like kind of know everything." And I say like Jack of all trades, master of none. I'm all over the place. So very multifaceted. And yeah, you can. Again, I can have my opinions, spew things, or jokingly make fun of people and things like that. But then I also do things like people don't realize I once volunteered at a kids camp for terminally ill kids in Ojai for a week with my sister. It was insane. We were with like people don't realize, but like you're not speaking about that, so they don't know that side of you. People don't know that like for a while I would just get supplies and just one by one like hand some things out to homeless. Like literally just go to Skid Row, buy like $100 worth of groceries, and like give them. I would like give them beer too, because I was like, just have fun. I would feel bad. I was like, listen, you imagine like being homeless and somebody rolls up to you with a 12
beer.
pack.
Oh my God, you just made their day.
You made their day, and I think about their mental health and people like it's like yeah. So I would bring them that. I actually might do that today. This
Take
like
some homeless people to be a
yeah. And oftentimes just like
I should take them some of my rosé. I've never thought about giving them alcohol.
People also realize this too. I think for a little bit when I was doing those drive-through stories, which of course sometimes I was getting it, and also to fucking note this, people were like, "Will you eat such crap?" I'm like, I was posting it because I was like doing that. I actually, and that was also doing a certain time, but I also do eat super healthy. But regardless, sometimes too when I was doing that, I was actually getting food for homeless people, but I was just filling the order because I know they like that. Because it wasn't. I was like, this isn't even for me. But people don't know that. And again, I don't feel the need to say it, but it's like, you don't need to go off explaining why you're a good person, even though I just kind of did that, but only for the example of this conversation where it's like, people don't know that.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, that's true.
We're terrible people, Jeff Epstein.
We're good people.
We're good people. Damn it.
Yeah, who hate everyone.
Where can people follow you if they don't hate you and actually want to learn more? I'm telling you guys, he has really hot thirst traps. So like you're going to have some free porn tonight. Have you ever thought about opening an OnlyFans?
Guy, I will say this drives me nuts. It drives me nuts because
you would never.
I don't know. This is actually an important conversation. I don't know where it's gotten lost in culture nowadays. Like I'm for positive sex work, do whatever you want, all these things. But also people are like, get an OnlyFans. It's like, when did it become so mainstream to become a porn star? Like, I'm not a porn star. I explain this to people all the time. So like, it seems to be so like kind of blasé to be like, oh, just all of a sudden like start an OnlyFans, which what you were saying is, oh, become a porn star. That's not what I am. I'm not. And like, I think when I post those, and somebody just said it recently, like when I post them, I feel like they're not like, a lot of like I again like kind of being artsy and things. Like I'll do these cool filters. I kind of do these cool like there's like graffiti in the background. It's this whole kind of cool vibe. And I'm also like proud of my body because I work out. So it's kind of that. It's kind of like it's not this thoughty vibe. It's I'm proud of my body because I work out really hard, but I also just enjoy taking. People don't know this, but a lot of like I have a portfolio and stuff. I've done a lot of shooting, a lot of this product, but I just shot a lot. I really enjoy photography, and so a lot of that is actually what it is. And so you'll see me. It's like these pictures where my shirt is off for sure, but like I feel like it's done in this kind of like I see a vision for it, and I actually have a lot of time. I enjoy like kind of
creatively putting that.
And like even it was my old Pop Goggles cover art, which I think is the background that I use like for all the tweets that I post. Like I had done that shoot myself, and I was like, oh my God, this is really cool. I think that's just like with the way I look at it, it's kind of these vibes. It's not like thirst trappy. I think of course sometimes that's the intent. Like a little bit, you're like, okay, but when they're like start an OnlyFans, I'm like, guys, I'm not a porn star. I again do what you want to do, but I'm just not. I'm not.
Yeah. Not to knock anybody that does it, but it's not for you.
It's just not for me. That's what I said. I'm like, do you? I'm like, I wish I kind of was okay with it because it seems to be making a lot of money. But I always get that comment. I'm like, why can't I post a picture without my shirt on without people saying that?
Well, I'm a little jealous because sometimes I post thirsty stuff and nobody asks me for an OnlyFans. Not that I would do it, but I want somebody to want my dick that bad.
It's flattering, of course. It's so flattering. I think, again, a lot of times when posting it too is like I put in a lot of work to my body. When people ask what I do, my unemployed, it's a lot of it is focused on because I have the time.
Yeah.
Maybe. So yeah, no OnlyFans. So you can find me not on OnlyFans, but at It's Jeff Epstein on Instagram and Twitter.
At It's Jeff Epstein, which is your real name.
That's my real name.
Yeah. You can follow me at Just Plain Zack. Again, don't berate me. Don't badge it. Like, I don't give a shit, nor do I care to give that my energy, so it won't get responded to. But you can slide into my DMs, or, maybe I'll send you an OnlyFan photo if you give me the right compliment at Just Plain Zack, or follow the show at No Filter with Zack. You can listen to hashtag No Filter with Zack Peter on all podcast platforms. Leave me a review on iTunes if you want to validate me even further. I love the reviews, and I love that you support me, and I will give you shout outs in a future episode to come. We're live every Thursdays at 6:30 Pacific, 9:30 Eastern, so join us on the Instagram at No Filter with Zack. And if you're watching us on YouTube right now, hi, hit that subscribe button and that like, because we love that validation. I love all of the notifications that are good. All right, guys, love you. Be a good person. Go give some homeless people some beer. And I will talk to you this Wednesday with the founder, Brandon Wade, of Seeking Arrangement. It's going to get juicy, and he's going to be telling me all about that Rachel Yucatel scandal. So get ready. All right, guys, bye.